Welcome back. It is the Flow Friday Sports Show on Flow FM, and it's time to welcome Spud McKay to the show to have a look at the Northern Areas Footy Association. How are you, Spud? Good to speak to you again.
Very good, Dan. Yes, the rain is fairly sparing. We only had a mill overnight. We'll be looking for about 15 mils if we could get it or more, but just not quite enough at the moment. But even the long-range forecasters are perhaps going off it a little bit now. I'm not too sure that it's going to be all right. So we'll keep our fingers crossed.
We'll certainly keep our fingers crossed. Nice to get a tiny little sprinkle at least, but certainly not enough. So, yeah, we'll be keeping our fingers crossed very tightly. Spud, let's go back to the Nutrien Cup last weekend. We'll touch on the round 7 games from 2 weeks ago in a moment, but Nutrien Cup last weekend, the Northern Areas Footy Association fared pretty well.
Yeah, it was a very good carnival, and in the A grade, Northern Areas actually had played Northeastern in the first game, and at half-time Northeastern were 3 goals and NAFA were 1 goal 4, and then the final score was Northeastern 5-5 to NAFA 3-5. So it was a pretty good showing by them, but and possibly looking at the result in the last game when Northeastern played YP, that they may have been NAFA may have been the second best side there, but that's just the way the carnival is structured. It's built along the lines of the zone championships, which take place later on. So it gives them a chance to be able to pick out their best players that they reckon can go on and play zone. So for NAFA in that second game for third and fourth, NAFA defeated Adelaide Plains 9-7 to 3-4, fairly good, well there. Jackson Richmond was the standout with 4 goals, and the best players for Northern Areas in that game was Will Coombe, Darren Hughes, Jackson Richmond, of course, and Shane Ballantyne. And the best player for NAFA over the carnival was Will Coombe from Crystal Brook, and Lockie Doling from Broughton Mundura was the best under 21. The under-17s were outstanding, and they won their first carnival for about 13 years. And in the final there, they defeated Adelaide Plains 8-8 to 4-7. And the player of the carnival for the under-17s for NAFA was Jackson Clark from Jamestown Peterborough. And in that playoff for third and fourth, best players were Jackson Clark from Jamestown Peterborough, Hugh Marshall from Crystal Brook, who's played a few A-grade games this year and is playing really good footy. He was actually the captain of that under-17 side. Lucas Manners from Crystal Brook was in the best players, along with Caden Fitzgerald from Jamestown Peterborough. So well done to all those lads, and it's a great experience for them, and I'm sure they'll get a lot out of that, and you make a lot of friends and look forward to coming up against those players sometime in the future.
All right, very good wrap of the Nutrien Cup there. Thank you for that, Spud. And it's great to see Jamestown Peterborough getting some representation in the younger age groups there. They're struggling in the seniors at the moment, but there's certainly some help on the way, so that is good to see. And speaking of Jamestown Peterborough's struggles, that's a good segue into round 7 from 2 weeks ago. It was another loss for Jamestown Peterborough. They went down to Orroroo 15-14, 104 to 2-8-20. Big win for Orroroo. And we'll get to the next result in a moment, but that actually put them on top of the ladder. So Orroroo will certainly be happy with that.
Yes, they would. And, they were just far too good for Jamestown Peterborough. Jamestown Peterborough now are looking to blood some of the younger ones up there. But they will need a bit of help. It's going to be hard work for them. If you can blood young ones under 17s in amongst your senior players, and they help them out, are able to help them out enough, that's the easiest way to do it. So, good win to Orroroo, and it's opened up the competition a little bit now.
Certainly it has. So Jamestown Peterborough on the right track there, but Orroroo too good. Isaac Moller leading the way with 5 goals, a pretty even spread other than that for Orroroo. And like I said, the ladder has had a bit of a shake-up because Crystal Brook, 28-128, spanked BMW 8-8-56. So BMW, their first loss for the season, drops them to second on the ladder. And Crystal Brook now just a game behind both BMW and Orroroo. So that top 3 is getting very, very tight.
Yeah, Crystal Brook, they are really starting to shine now. And and that's good for the competition. I reckon probably we've got 4 sides now that are in the running. Broughton Mundura seem to be having not too bad a run just lately. So if they can get up and we have the 4 sides, that'll make for a pretty good final series. Unfortunately, I don't know that Southern Flinders and Jamestown or Jamestown Peterborough haven't won a game yet, but I think those 2 sides will struggle to be able to match it with those top 4. So well done to Crystal Brook. It was just a solid effort by them, and BMW have now got to go back and work out what went wrong in that game.
6 goals for Leo Coates leading the way for Crystal Brook, and it was 7 goals to 1 in the first quarter and then 4 goals to 1 in the second quarter. A 55-point lead to Crystal Brook at halftime, so a dominant performance there, definitely stamping themselves as one of the best teams in the comp. And Broughton Mundura, like you said, they're going along okay too. They had a win over Southern Flinders 13-10-88 to 7-5-47, getting on top after just 1 goal in the first quarter and a bit of a slow start.
Yeah, they finished off well, and they were they would be pleased with that win, albeit against Southern Flinders. But at least you can get players develop confidence out of a win like that, and then maybe take it in against the 3 sides that are above you.
BMW will be looking to get back on the winners list tomorrow. They are hosting Jamestown Peterborough hosting BMW, I should say. And with the week off now in the rearview mirror, BMW will be coming in fresh and coming in trying to get back on the winners list. Probably not the best time for Jamestown Peterborough to come up against one of the premier teams of the comp.
No, it certainly isn't. They will, as I mentioned, those sort of Darcy Andrews, they've put in on a wing, and they're going to use Jackson Clark on the interchange there, so they'll probably, those 2 players will swap around a bit. But good learning experience for them. I believe Max McKay is back in the ruck, so that will help them a lot. And Brock Grayson is probably their form player. He's been really good as an on-baller there. But BMW, yeah, they should win this relatively comfortably, I would think. They'd want to get goals on the board early so that it just takes the heat out of the game. Cody Wolford, their coach, Alec Tango, is very good. And then their defence is pretty sound too, with Nick McCullum, Braden Battersby, Eric Brereton. So I reckon BMW will win pretty easy.
And it's not great timing for Southern Flinders to be travelling to Crystal Brook either, because Crystal Brook, as we just said, have found some brilliant form, and they'll be very keen to stay in that top form this weekend. Yes,
they will. Will Coombe is in male medal winning form at the moment. He's having a great season, so he'll lead the way for them. And then Joel Millard, Braden Kirk, and of course the experienced Luke Capitola will help them out. So I think Southern Flinders, Shane Ballantyne, Zeke Kay, their 2 experienced players, will be the ones that will sort of lead the way for them. But they do need a fair bit out of Will Smart, Max and Ben Flowers, those younger players that are coming. So, I think down at Crystal Brook will be a really tough day for Southern Flinders.
Last game of the round, it is Orroroo hosting Broughton Mundura. So it's the top 3 all facing off against the bottom 3 this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. And again, like being up at Orroroo, it's not easy for Broughton to come up there. It's a long way for them to get there, and sometimes they don't particularly like being up there. But it's one of the games you've got to play. It's the same for Orroroo when they have to go to Broughton. So I reckon Isaac Moller at centre half forward for Orroroo, Ollie Dignan up at full forward. They'll be the ones where they'll look to get their goals from. And their midfield is pretty good. Darren Hughes is leading the way in there. And their ruckman, of course, Aidan Lee, is very good and will give them first use of the ball. Broughton Mundura, they'll be looking at Lockie Doling to continue on his good form that he showed in the Nutrien Cup. And Kane Bowley, Charlie Dickerson, Callis Freer, they're the ones that will lead the way for them. But I reckon Orroroo, this will be the match of the round, and Orroroo will get over the line, I would think, but probably not by a huge margin.
All right, well, we'll see if there are any upsets in the Northern Areas Footy Association this weekend. Good luck to everyone taking the field. Spud, enjoy the action. Thank you for that wrap-up, and we'll catch you next Friday.
Thanks, Dan. Catch you next week.